When crabs by their lonesome are placed into a bucket, they really try to fight for their freedom. They crawl up to the lip of that bucket and eventually will get out. They generally can do this without much hindrance at all until crabs are placed in a bucket with other crabs. So when they're placed in a bucket with these other crabs, they have a much different experience. It's a lot harder for them to gain their freedom. So when they're jailed together, you don't even need to put a lid on the bucket to keep them from escaping. Because really, the other crabs become that single crab's jailer. What they do is when that crab tries to reach the lip, they grab its legs and they pull it back down. This is really the essence of the zero-sum mentality, which is the belief that when one person's gain would be another's loss. So when speaking it out loud, it really does seem rather strange. But really, with people, this behavior is very, very predominant. So, hello and welcome to the Fire Forge Leader podcast, where I'm going to be sharing lessons along with my guests on the front lines of leadership. So today we're discussing this whole mentality around crabs in a bucket and that whole phenomenon. And really, we're going to talk briefly about how to continue to move forward when it seems like other people continue to drag you down. So let's get straight into this one. I'm just going to tell you that over time, I've been attacked both personally and professionally by multiple people that have really seen me doing well in both areas of my life, outside of work as well as within. So let's talk about the career aspect for a minute. I've done quite a bit in my career, and I really started at the bottom and worked my way up. So over that time and multiple promotions, I've heard all of the rumors behind my back, right? I've heard people saying that I'm not as smart as I think I am, that I'm not as good as what other people think, that I don't deserve promotions, or whatever they want to say. I even believe that certain people over time have made up rumors that they just kept inside of their own heads so that they could tell me about the rumors so that it would discourage me from going further. In my personal life, I've also encountered this. I've told you about how ugly my past is. I got a lot of blemishes in my resume as a father, as a person within my community, as a husband. But that's not who I am today. But I've had people bring up my relationship with my older children, my previous drug use, not caring for my family or my wife like I should have, being fired from jobs before. You name it, and they brought it up. And the only thing that I can think is that they bring it up because they want to try and take me down a notch. So here's the trick, everybody. This is the trick. Don't let the crabs grab your legs. So it sounds easy, but how do you really do it in practice? So I got 4 tips today that I want to talk to you about. The first one is simply know who you are. No one else can tell you this, even though they want to try. You don't have to give them this power. You have the right to choose your own path. No one else has that right for you. But if you give this power away, then someone else will choose your path. They will take you down that ugly road. They will grab your legs and pull you back down into the bucket. Second thing is let your past be your past. You don't have to drag that ugly shit into the future. Your past is your past, but only if you make it your past. So decide today, which way are you going, right? Are you moving towards your past? Are you going into the future? Which brings me to the third point. Know where you're heading. If you know where you're heading, nobody can direct you towards your past. Also, if you know where you're going, you're super focused on it, and all the peripheral starts to blur. All the other crabs just go away. So keep in your mind what your end goals are with your wife, with your children, with your career, what you're doing in the community. And really just keep that in your mind, because what they say doesn't matter if you're moving towards your goals. And then the fourth and final point is you don't have to allow other people in. It's like a house. Your mind, your heart, your body, your soul is like a house. Go ahead and let them suckers knock on the door. You don't have to answer. That's a choice. You don't have to listen. You know, some people think it's mean, but sometimes you just got to cut that out of your life so that you can go forward. It's not mean. It's self-preservation. It's preservation of your family. It's preservation of your community. It's preservation of your career. So if it has to get to that point, cut it out. So overall, this is your life. It's not anybody else's to control. Choose your destiny within it. You have the choice overall not to allow the other crabs to grab your legs and pull you down to the bottom of the bucket. Hell, you don't even have to be a crab. So let that sorry batch of waste sit at the bottom of the bucket. And I know that sounded pretty cruel, but really, if they're trying to drag other people down so that they feel better, is that really what you need in your life? Now, I would say you could have conversations with these people and see if they want something better for themselves. But if they don't, they've made their choice. So anyways, let them sit at the bottom of the bucket and they can tug on each other all that they want. And it's okay. They're either going to choose to follow you out of that bucket and choose freedom, or they're going to die at the bottom of that bucket. But you have you to focus on. You have your family to focus on. You have your marriage or your relationship to focus on. You have your livelihood and your entire world to focus on. You don't need to focus on the crabs in the bucket. So I know this sounds pretty short and pretty harsh and kind of callous, but I'm going to tell you right now, the negativity drives people down. Don't allow it. You have that choice. Tie a knot on it. Let the crabs tug on each other. So we're going to be continuing through December, releasing every 2 weeks. When we go into 2023, this will be released every week. And I'm looking forward to that because I love doing these episodes. If you love this show too, I invite you to leave a rating and a review, especially on Apple Podcasts. That's where we're the most popular right now. If you liked what you heard here, of course, smash that subscribe button. And you can do that on any podcasting app that you listen to. I suggest Apple Podcasts because that's where we're the most popular. But ratings and reviews and subscriptions help us out anywhere. So I ask you to also join us for the next episode, where we're going to be sharing, myself as well as the guests that I invite on, to share more lessons that we learn in the forge. So once again, this was short, but I thank you for tuning into the Fire Forge Leader podcast. And don't forget, words without actions are meaningless. So after you feel the heat of the forge, I want you to shape your thoughts out, quench that brain, and then put these new tools to use.